Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so quick recap. We're now at 280 subs. Slowly climbing, but hey, it's awesome to see new subscribers come on board. I welcome everybody to the channel. We have a brand new series coming on the channel very soon, which will hopefully debut sometime next year. But it's pretty much showcasing theaters across the nation. So every venue across the nation. We're going to start in New York City where it all began first, and then we're going to continue outward. So who knows? You may see your own theater venue showcased on this channel. We'll take a look at their history, the men and women who are tasked with keeping each theater up and running, from front of house staff to back of house, as well as what each venue means to the community it serves. It'll be a very interesting look, so you won't want to miss that series. So keep a lookout for that. And a quick recap for everyone on this channel. So Moulin Rouge was the last video for the 2010 era. So yes, 90 videos later, and we have completed that era. Stay tuned for the 2020 era and beyond, which goes into today's shows. But first, we're going to dive into a few shows that were part of special engagements on Broadway. These are basically, or were basically, limited time shows. So, we're going to start first with a podcast that dives deep into the art, music, and untold story of Broadway's most visually stunning show, Blast. Now, Blast is a Broadway production created by James Mason for Cook Group Incorporated, the director and organization formerly operating the Star of Indiana Drum and Bugle Corps. Now, the Star of Indiana Drum and Bugle Corps, founded in 1984, was a highly influential but short-lived competitive junior drum and bugle corps based in Bloomington, Indiana. Now, the corps was founded with significant financial backing, basically a $1 million grant, from philanthropist Bill Cook and his company, Cook Group, with Jim Mason as the director. Now, in their inaugural competitive season in 1985, Star of Indiana made a huge splash by placing 10th at the Drum Corps International World Championships, also known as DCI, becoming one of the few corps to make the top 12 finals in their first year. Now, after the 1993 season, Star's leadership decided to leave the drum corps competition field to pursue a new concept that would allow for more artistic freedom and a longer performance season. Well, by December of 1999, Blast premiered at the Hammersmith Apollo in London, with its debut right here in the US in August of 2000 at the Wang Center in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, this Boston engagement kicked off the show's first major national tour of the U.S., which ran through December of 2000, eventually concluding at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Hosting Blast was part of a conscious effort by the Wang Center to introduce non-traditional theatrical events and expand its programming to a brand new audience. Now, the show itself was an explosive musical and visual spectacle that blended the high-energy pageantry of drum and bugle corps and marching band with the theatrical elements of Broadway. The cast, typically about 60 members, featured world-class brass and percussion musicians with additional visual performers, including color guard, who executed complex synchronized choreography with flags, sabers, and, yes, rifles. Now, the music spanned genres, including classical, like Ravel's Bolero, jazz rock, and techno pop, with selections on the tour including pieces like Leonard Bernstein's Prelude, Fugue, and Riffs, and a musical theater number like G, Officer Krupke from West Side Story. Now, by April of 2001, Blast opened on Broadway at the Broadway Theater, running for 180 performances. Now, the show was frequently described by critics and its own marketing as being like Riverdance with instruments, acknowledging that it took a niche cultural art form, which is basically Irish step dancing for Riverdance and drum and bugle corps for Blast, and adapted it for the theatrical stage. The cast was comprised of over 60 young performers, most of them in their early 20s, drawn from the best competitive drum corps across North America. Now, the original Broadway cast alone had members who collectively held over 40 world championship titles from their drum corps careers. Now, Blast would later win the 2001 Tony Award for Best Theatrical Event, which is why we're doing this intro into these different shows. So these are best theatrical events. This was a landmark victory as it was the first time an organization rooted in the competitive marching arts, Star of Indiana, won a major Tony Award. Now, this special Tony Award was created specifically to honor unique, non-traditional shows like Blast that didn't quite fit the standard musical or play categories. Now, following the success on Broadway, a shortened version of the show called The Power of Blast played at the America Gardens Theater at Epcot before moving to the Hyperion Theater in Disney's California Adventure by November of that same year. Now, this special scaled-down adaptation of the Tony Award-winning musical Blast was created specifically for Disney theme parks. It was presented as a high-energy 30-minute musical spectacular with 4 shows typically performing daily. So in essence, The Power of Blast served as an explosive, condensed, best-of version of the Broadway production, perfectly suited for the theme park environment. It basically brought the spectacle of the Tony Award-winning show to millions of park guests, a demographic that likely included many people who had never been exposed to the drum corps art form. A unique tour then commenced during the 2002-2003 season, beginning with Blast 2 Shockwave, basically a highly anticipated follow-up to the successful Broadway and touring show Blast. It maintained the high-energy visual style of its predecessor, while introducing new musical elements and a more edgier feel. Like Blast, Shockwave was a musical spectacular that combined world-class brass and percussion music with intense, highly choreographed movement, evolving from the traditions of drum and bugle corps as well as color guard. Like the original, the show did not have a traditional plot or storyline, and it was a series of musical and visual numbers, often with humorous and dramatic elements that focused purely on the spectacle of music in motion. Shockwave introduced woodwind instruments for the first time, and specifically including a section of saxophones, who often doubled on other woodwind instruments. Now, this change allowed for a different musical dynamic and texture that was not possible in the brass and percussion only format of the original. The show then modified the equipment used by the visual ensemble, color guard, moving away from some of the more traditional drum corps weapons, including rifles and sabers, to a more favorable movement and dance. Now, it could have ended there. However, American audiences can't have all the fun. So the creative team then developed a final 4th sequel called Mix Music in Extreme for the 2006 season and again for the 2008 season, located in Japan. Now, like its predecessors, Mix was developed by Mason Entertainment Group, also known as MEG, with James Mason as its artistic director. Now, the show was primarily designed for the lucrative Japanese market, which had consistently supported the Blast franchise. The strategy of launching a new show in Japan did, however, allow the creators to maintain a fresh offering for their key international audience. Mix built upon the foundation of Cyberjam by maintaining the theme of extreme musical and visual performance, but with a brand new concept. It was billed as a show that explored the limitless possibilities of music and movement, combining different elements into a new extreme experience. Musicians played instruments like trumpets, saxophones, trombones, and percussion while executing complex choreography. Dancers and baton twirlers performed synchronized high-impact routines, and performances often included gymnastics, trampoline work, and other athletic feats. Well, in 2016, after the success of Mix, the same production team developed and premiered Blast, the Music of Disney, specifically to only tour in Japan, which demonstrated this continued demand for their unique style of musical theater in that country. Now, this was a unique theatrical production that combined the high-energy showmanship of a drum and bugle corps with the beloved music of Disney movie and attractions. It basically featured non-stop, intense choreography, elaborate staging, dramatic lighting, and colorful costumes. The entire show was essentially a visual and auditory feast designed to stimulate the senses. Unlike the original Blast, which featured a wide variety of music from classical to rock and jazz, this version was dedicated exclusively to Disney music, including songs from classic films to modern hits and theme park attractions. The cast consisted of world-class musicians and athletes drawn from the world of outdoor pageantry, like Drum Corps International. They performed intricate, synchronized choreography while simultaneously playing their instruments or manipulating their props. So basically, Blast is rooted in its revolutionary fusion of competitive marching arts with theatrical performance, creating a unique and globally recognized form of live entertainment. Its journey spans from the football field to the Broadway stage and continues to thrive internationally. Blast is celebrated for creating a new art form, a musical spectacle of music in motion. It brought the excitement and athleticism of outdoor pageantry, including brass, percussion, and a visual ensemble spinning flags, sabers, and rifles, into an outdoor theatrical setting with sophisticated lighting and staging. By achieving success on Broadway and through global touring, Blast brought the specialized talents of drum corps and marching band performers to a massive mainstream audience. It showcased these performers not just as musicians, but as highly trained athletes and artists, paving the way for similar productions like Drumline Live. The production provided a professional paid performance venue for world-class musicians and visual performers, many of whom are in their early 20s and have backgrounds in competitive marching arts. Blast proved to have a universal non-language dependent appeal, leading to remarkable success in Japan, where it has continued to tour extensively for decades to sold-out audiences. Now, the original Blast remained active, with a dedicated production license to Kyoto, Tokyo for a 3-month tour of Japan in 2024, continuing its international tradition with a mix of American and Japanese cast members. Now, the show's creative leadership continues to produce Blast and other shows like it through Mason Entertainment Group, focusing on innovative live theatrical experiences. So, guys, Blast was, and still is a show where the music itself is the star, but the athleticism is the drama. It's an evening of theater that requires every single person on stage to be both a virtuoso and an elite athlete. The production is a testament to the power of pure instrumental spectacle. It earned its spot in Broadway history not by following the rules, but by brilliantly tearing up the script. Until next time, guys, keep the beat alive.